I've been in the business starting with my family back in 1954. We started in the construction business, and my family 3 generations, so I followed in the footsteps of my family and learned about the construction business and turned it over into the real estate business. I started as a traditional real estate agent, and then I saw my niche being in the construction business and allowed it basically to go into doing the buying and selling of houses. So I evolved my business, started slow, and now I do over 100 houses a year. Typically when you're buying and selling houses, there's a lot of things to look for. We've actually created a checklist, but the biggest thing is looking at the outside structure of the home. A drive-by, you can tell kind of windows they have, the kind of roof, if it's brick, siding, how long it's been. Those are typically things that are big costs that people overlook. So if you look at those first before you get in the house, it allows you to be able to save a lot on, the investment in the home. There's a lot of guys in the business, so what happens is the same way you have contractors. You have good and bad. You got to look with people who have a good reputation. We've been doing it a long time, so we give a product that's a little bit different than a lot of people in the business. Newest thing we've been doing is we've been selling houses furnished. So if you buy one of our houses, Gardner White's been providing the furniture where you get a whole house completely furnished. So it's pretty cool to get that in your purchase price.
Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. My name's Adam Helfman, resident home improvement expert. We've got Eric Glick from Glick Law Firm in studio. Welcome back, Eric.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be back.
Homeowners go to hireitdone.com, ask me all kinds of questions all the time. Clearly, if you want a contractor, go to hireitdone.com, request a contractor, and you'll get one of them. That's the nucleus of the site. But we're also content. We're also a blog, information. And, for the past few years, we've gotten a lot of requests about flipping houses. And, you see it on HGTV. You see them flip a house. You think it's that easy. It's not easy. Remodeling a bathroom on, a 28-minute show. They make it look like it's nothing. It's not easy. None of the pricing's correct. What's it really cost? We just did a segment on that. It's called fuzzy math. But we're going to bring the reality in real right now live. So joining me on the Hire It Done radio show is Frank Mastroianni. He's a real estate investor. He's been flipping homes for a long time now. He's the founder of eHomescore. And he's a good guy. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Adam. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on the show today.
So let's tell everyone in the home improvement sphere that's listening, when you flip a house, let's give everyone, what's the attraction to that?
Well, a lot of people, like you said, watch HGTV. They turn it on. They see the house gets flipped in a 1-hour segment, and then they go through and they see the profit of the $35,000, and they say, hey, we're ready to go. They will, call their local real estate agent, go buy a house and try to do it and end up losing $35,000 instead of making it, and then there becomes a problem.
Okay, or they can never sell a house.
100%.
Okay, so let's get right into the juicy meat of everything. And by the way, if you have a flipping question, text us 97136. Is it more important on the purchase of the house to get the right price, or is it more important on how much money you spend on renovating and fixing it up? Where's the priority list, Frank?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to look at the business. There's now people that get into the wholesale arena, which is buying direct from the consumer. There's a lot of companies in other states that are going into that aspect of the business. I've always been true to buying it off the MLS. The multi-listing service is basically a hub where all real estate agents go and look for properties. Once the acquisition of the property takes place, that's the most important part, is knowing the area in which the properties are located, knowing the comps. There's a lot of that goes into the purchase, the acquisition of the property.
Okay. So let me ask you really quick. Average Joe homeowner. They got the husband and wife both have good jobs. They're stable in their house. They got a few extra dollars, and they love this stuff. And they like HGTV. They love Pinterest. House. They're into design, decor. They remodeled their basement. They remodeled their bathroom. They're like, yeah, this is great. We can do this. So then they just said, let's pull some money together. Let's buy a house. Let's fix it up and flip it. Keep it simple, right? So what is your advice to the homeowner right now who wants to do that? Go to you, go to the real estate, go to the MLS, go online. What's the first step?
First step you want to do is basically call Hire It Done because they have the preferred contractors, and the contractors are the ones that are going to basically take you to success.
Well, that's if they buy, once they find the house.
Sure.
I'm talking about what they're going to buy a house. Let's back it up. We all know everyone wants to use Hire It Done.
Sure.
But let's do the purchase the house.
Purchasing the house, it's difficult because there's so much competition in the market today. So most people, when they're looking at buying a property, they go in and see, they see a house has 27 offers, then they pay over asking price, and then by that time they don't have a resale purchase. So you have to look at the strategy a little bit differently. When everybody's looking for the premier properties, you want to look for the properties that haven't been on the market for 60 plus days, and there's
that have not been.
No, that have been.
Oh, you want the older ones.
100%. You want pink carpet. You want it hasn't been updated in 40 years. The reason why is because those are the properties that nobody wants. So the American dream becomes the American nightmare. A lot of people, they have the American dreams to buy a house, have a home, and have it updated. Well, what happens is in the real estate market, when the properties become stagnant and you have old carpet, old kitchens, old bathrooms, nobody wants to buy them. Everybody today is in the mentality of move-in ready. They want granite. They want stainless steel appliances. They want everything done. So basically, you want to buy the property that nobody else wants. That would be one of my biggest things for people to say, because everybody thinks, we're going to go buy a property that's already done, paint it, and there's not a lot of spread to be able to do anything. You want to buy the ugliest house on the nicest block.
Okay, so if the houses in the neighborhood are selling for $250, $280, whatever, let's use that. How much lower? Because you want to when you're looking at a house, you want to be able to say, okay, I'm going to sell this for X.
Sure.
And X means whatever the area can
Your comps.
Get. Yeah,
absolutely.
So the comps. So you want to be below X.
Typically, our acquisition price when we're buying a property is about 20% less on the MLS. So if you take a property that's $200,000, we would try to acquire it for $160,000. Now I know it sounds like a lot, but when you look at the improvement value that has to go into a house, your typical ranch, colonial, they need 30 to 40 grand. So if the market for that house is 2 to 220, and you're buying it at 185, you're not going to make any money.
So you need to go 40% less.
That's a little bit of a stretch, but close. Typically acquisitions happen between 25 and 30% below price. When you get past that, then there's not a lot of people that are willing to. They'd rather just fix it up themselves.
Now, the fact if you're a cash buyer, does that make a difference?
Absolutely. When you're acquiring a property, typically our offers we'll close in a week. A lot of the guys in the business, they'll get it in contract and try to find the money.
Okay,
That's
so
where
now
we're different.
You find a house for $160. The neighborhood goes for $220. Okay. The next step is then, finding contractors to renovate it.
Absolutely. That's where Hire It Done comes in.
How much is too much? How much is too much? What do you do? Like, do you rip the cabinets out? Do you paint the cabinets? Do you take just the countertops off? Do you put new flooring in? How far do you go in the cost? That's the other question mark.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's every house stands on its own. You have to have an opportunity to basically look at, you predetermine a budget ahead of time, and then you try to stick to that budget. If your budget's predetermined, and you have a good team, contractors have a huge play in it.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with somebody like Hire It Done, you can establish a price ahead of time.
Okay.
That helps you a lot.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about finding good contractors. Then you put the house for sale on the market. Should you use a real estate agent? Should you use an attorney? What are all the other factors that impact the price and how much you're going to make as well? I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network. Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. I'm Adam Helfman. We got Frank Mastroianni in studio talking about flipping houses, doing it the right way, laying out the roadmap for what if someone wants to do that. And we've got our counselor, Eric Glick from the Glick Law Firm. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you, Adam.
So we were talking, Frank, about the purchase of a house. And you said earlier that if the house has been on the market 60 days, then you know that that's an indication that it possibly could be something wrong with the house or the pricing or what. So is that where you focus on right now?
The majority of our properties we buy, we call stagnant listings. Those are, yes, that fall in that criteria. They typically are houses that haven't been updated in, 20 years. They're houses that, people have gone through. They've had, 40 plus showings. Nobody wants to buy them. And it just starts getting indicators where people are, they want to get rid of the property. So those
Sure.
are properties that we typically go in and we offer a service that allows people to sell, still get a fair price, and move forward with their life.
Now, how often is it that someone calls you and says, all right, I want to flip a house. I don't have the expertise, but you do. Can I put the money up and you do it? Can you partner? Can they invest? Is that a possibility, or is that what are your thoughts on that type of process?
It happens all the time, Adam. I get calls all the time from people wanting to invest. The problem is I have so many properties that I don't have time to take outside money. So we basically tell them, that in the future, if something arises, we'll keep their name and number, but we don't. There's typically our investments are just with our, with the properties we have.
And then the homeowner bought a house, got a good deal on it, and then throws their arms up in the air mid-renovation because none of the contractors show up, none of them do anything. Do you buy properties like that are half renovated?
Absolutely. We buy properties in all different kinds of situations. The last acquisition we had was a property actually in Canton, came from the Mark Z team. Kirk Weber is one of their top agents over there, and he called me. We've done deals in the past, and they had a property where a gentleman was moved out of the country. His property had fell through 2 times. He needed a driveway, needed a deck, but it's in a nice part of Canton. Property was listed at $359,900, and the homeowner said, just give me a cash offer. So we acquired the property at $300,000, which is in the 20% ratio, and we're going to go in, fix it up, and get it back on the market and see. But yeah, it's becoming bigger and bigger where the agents actually are using our services on the MLS to call us and say, hey, we know you buy properties. We close in a week, and can you help this homeowner out?
So you're a cash buyer?
Yes.
So what makes you an expert in this? How long have you been doing this?
Since 2009 has been when I started doing investment real estate. I've been in real estate 20-plus years. I've seen the good times and the bad times. That's one of the things people say all the time is, oh, wow, everything's so good. When everything's going good, everybody can do good. But when the times are bad, that's when you see who the real guys are. And I started doing this when you'd buy a house and you'd sell it for, let's take, for example, property in Redford. If you imagine buying a house, 3-bedroom brick ranch, vinyl windows, dimensional roof, new garage, 1-car garage, new driveway, acquired the property for $25,000. I mean, you can't even buy a car for that. This is back in 2009. Mm-hmm. We'd go through.
Well, the world fell apart then.
Absolutely. But we were part of the acquisition process back then, and we'd put, money into the home and sell it, and then we'd list them back then at $79,900. Now those properties are probably going for $120,000, $130,000, and we wouldn't get appraisals. So they
imagine if you held on to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But what about people who want to buy houses and rent? Being a landlord's it's a whole new animal. Don't you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I look at the dollars and cents end of it. If you're going to invest, say $70,000 to $100,000 in a rental, and you're going to make $1,000 a month, and you times that by 12, it's $12,000. You take your taxes and insurance out. Let's say you net $6,500, and that's if you don't have any improvements or anything that goes wrong with the house while the tenants are in there. To invest $100,000 to make $6,500, the return, I'd rather sell the house and be done with it.
I get you. It makes perfect sense. So you have to also have a little bit of knowledge of home improvement?
Absolutely. I have a builder's license. I have a real estate license. My family started in construction actually in the 50s. It's funny because my grandfather, when he came over from Italy, he got his first job from your family, which now probably a lot of people know. Back in the 50s, Fairway Construction, which was Adam's family's company, was the biggest. There was nobody as big as them. They owned lumber yards the whole nine. And my grandfather went and actually did his first concrete job from Adam's grandpa, so sort of unique.
So the Mastroianni clan.
They got their start from the Helfmans. Yeah, that was the Helfmans put the Mastroiannis on the map back in the 50s.
It's time to pay the VIG.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a long time. I might not be able to afford that right now. We could try.
No, listen,
I got 5 boys now, so I don't know. It's a lot of money goes to them.
It's all good. It's all good. So, Eric, let me ask you a question. So you hear this. You see that he buys and sells houses and that. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been a lawyer on a house flipping, or not like a litigation, but it's just like someone said, hey, Eric, I need you to help me write the purchase agreement and the transaction and then items like that?
Yeah, sure. There's some states that actually require an attorney to be involved in real estate transactions. Michigan's not one of them. But yeah, I'm involved oftentimes, and there's a lot of things that come up, because people, get their title work, they get their surveys. Our neighbor, their driveway was encroachment on our property.
Sure.
It was right on our survey. It was right on their survey. They didn't know what that meant, but it meant their driveway was on our property.
So a lot of headaches you got to solve.
I helped some people with buying a house in Franklin, right? And it's a ranch on a nice big lot, and the guy selling it says, well, I know it's a small house, but the lot's beautiful, and you can always put a second story on the house. And then we see the restrictions for
no
the
second stories.
Right, no second stories allowed.
I've seen that. It's interesting. So, in a flipping of a house, when someone's buying a house that was flipped, and I have people come to me and say, "Hey, Adam, I bought this house from an investor," and they uncover all kinds of mistakes because the house sat vacant, no one lived in it. Is that like a loophole or a way? Like, Frank, when you buy houses, you're not living in them; you're fixing them up and putting them right on the market. What do you disclose to the homeowner? I mean, they know it was a flip house, right?
The thing is disclosures in Michigan. The seller's disclosures disclose everything you know about the house. When you're an investment real estate agent or when you're an investment buying and selling real estate, period, if you have a license or not, there's disclosures that you should disclose if the basement leaks, whatever else. But the fact of the matter is most of the guys in the business don't do that. So ourselves personally, we always fill out seller's disclosures. We give the opportunity of when you give somebody a house, especially when it's built in the 50s, 60s, when you're fixing it, if you're putting paint on it, you're fixing the floors, sanding the floors, doing basic improvements, you're not going to know if the plumbing behind the wall is galvanized or copper.
Right.
So things happen. I mean, that's part of home ownership.
Old homes, yeah.
So, I mean, you can't...
But you allow home inspections and all that.
100%. That's one of the ways people are able to go through. The home inspections, though, are give and take because inspectors don't have to be licensed. So what happens is somebody comes that could be, a guy driving down the street, say he became a home inspector. He comes, does an evaluation. A lot of times, if something goes wrong, say he misses something wrong with the roof, you can only sue them up to the cost of the home inspection, which a lot of people don't know.
Right.
So the thing is a lot of times the money you're investing in that isn't an opportunity for you to be able to save, because in the long run, if he misses something, you got to hope that the guy that you're buying the house from has
Well, the other thing is they buy the house, but then the tradesmen they use to fix it up have to be good.
Exactly.
You can't put lipstick on a pig, right?
Exactly. That's why, hired done services that Adam provides is very crucial, because his contractors are pre-screened. The people doing the work are doing the service to the customer, and
yeah.
That's what.
See, our guys aren't cheap. I mean, hired done contractors. Here's how I profile the hired done contractors. They're not cheap. However, they're never the most expensive. My contractors always fall within the middle range of doing it. They're busy because they're professionals. And when I say professionals, they do good work, but they also run a business. They understand insurance. They understand solution-minded headaches, solving problems. There's more to it than just being painter, drywaller, tile guy, roofer. You got to run a business. So that's part of it. That's what gets you the success theory. Just like you're really probably the benchmark in the Metro Detroit industry for house flipping. You have that nose to find the properties properly. Can you do it on a grand scale?
Absolutely.
Are you about to? What's going on? What's the future?
We've grown year by year. This year we're on pace to do 100 transactions, which, there's not many people in the business doing that many. Typically, your typical turnaround for a house is, 60 to 120 days, depending on if, how fast you can improve it. But people, to do the kind of volume we're doing, there's people out there, but they're not. I bet you it's probably less than 10 guys that are in the business doing the kind of volume that we're doing.
No, I understand that. So, the economy makes a big difference, right?
Absolutely.
Houses are on the market selling quickly. So at that point, there's an upswing. You buy a house, buy low, sell high. Clearly, let's just keep it simple. But again, now there's more competition, so you might have to pay a little more. Does that impact how much you renovate it? Because sometimes you can say, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to put granite. I'm going to do all new tile, and I'm going to go break the market. Like every house sold for $250, I'm going to go for $275 and maybe hopefully settle down for like $270, $265. Has that ever happened?
It has. Done a couple cities where we've actually set records for houses. We did one in Plymouth where we acquired it, and we sold it for a record. It was a 1,300 square foot ranch. We sold it for $342,000 and it appraised.
No. And that's the other key, getting the appraisal. I want to talk about that when we come back. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network.